Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Mushoku Tensei. This is season 2, episode 16, I think. And it's called Norn and Aisha. And I'm here. Wait, I'm a light novel reader. You know, you should probably know this if you watch every week. And I am here with the anime-only watcher, Kyle Entertainment.
EliteAri, you reminded me just now. Oh, I was gonna do a bit EliteAri, but now you reminded me and tricked me. I was, clicking on Crunchyroll comments, and like the top 3 of them had like a little spoiler warning thing. And remember last time I actually kind of did get spoiled, so I couldn't resist, and I clicked them again against the better judgment of myself and of you. And then I was like, I feel like there was a mini spoiler in there for something, but I can't remember what it is right now. But when you said that you were a light novel reader, I was gonna bring it up. So well, that's my first pointless point of the evening.
Yep.
Spoilers are good. Remember last week we talked about spoilers for like 16 minutes.
Yeah, that was crazy. And people got real mad, Kyle. They were not happy with you. But that's okay, you know? At least we got a bunch of comments. Thank you for commenting, guys. We love you. Kyle loves you. He'd never admit it, but he loves you. Leave comments, all right?
I'm doing the Hinata thing with my fingers right now, and I'm looking towards the ground because I'm really sad and scared.
Yep. Kyle, what did you think about this episode 16 of season 2?
God damn it, EliteAri, this shit was boring.
Really? Is that what you thought?
Yeah, I think so.
Interesting. Okay, I guess for reference.
Like, how are we going to get an hour out of this one? But we'll find out a way. We'll argue about something.
No, this might be a short one, except for the giant recap I have. But yeah, this is, I think it's the best episode of this season, obviously. I think it's no secret that I'm a big fan of Norn. So any episode she's in is obviously going to be, some of the best stuff in all of Mushoku Tensei. I think they adapted this, pretty well. I think they managed to capture the emotions that I wanted them to capture, even if they left out quite a few details. And I'm fine with it. So I was very engaged from beginning to end, Kyle. This was great. I love this. Production didn't even bother me. Sometimes it even looked really good, Even the opening, toward the end of it, there was like this montage at the end. I'm like, you know what, this montage is actually pretty sick. I kind of like this. So yeah.
The opening's pretty cool. You were wrong about that, admit it.
No, I'm slowly warming up to the end bit, like the last 10 seconds. The rest of it isn't very good, but that's okay. Not everything can be perfect about the show, except for season 1. Everything was perfect, but it's
okay. You just had a crisis.
Wait, you did?
Yeah, I did watch this whole episode. Why can't I have no memory of me watching the ED, but now I have a memory of me seeing the next episode preview, so I must have finished it.
All right, well done. Well, there was no post-credit scene this time, so that's okay.
No, there wasn't.
Anyway, so recap.
The next episode is called...
Brothers...
Hold on.
Go ahead. You got this.
Oh, you fucking...
No, go ahead. You can say it.
No, I'm protesting now. I still don't know what it is.
We'll announce it at the end of this discussion. We'll tell you what the next episode is called, because I'm sure you listening right now, you have no idea. So... this episode is split into 3 parts, maybe 2 parts. We had the Ruijerd stuff at the beginning. We have the kind of getting a new, we're introducing the 2 sisters and stuff in the middle. And then we got a bunch of Norn stuff at the end with Linia and Pursena and stuff as well. So first we have Rudy and Ruijerd, which are catching up after around 3 years since the last time they saw each other. So Rudy thanks Ruijerd for escorting his sisters. And Ruijerd says...
spoiler!
Jesus, go ahead, yeah.
I'll write it down. No, you're about to get to it.
Okay, Rudy thanks him for escorting his sisters, and Ruijerd said that protecting children is only natural. I guess just generally, I think this Ruijerd stuff at the beginning of this episode is really good. It's some of my favorite stuff in the light novel because it's it's an old friend. I think to me it feels like it's been a long time since season 1. Like a lot has happened, so it truly does feel like 2 characters who haven't seen each other in a long time are in very different circumstances. Well, especially Rudy here. So it feels like a good catch up. I think it's really good. Yeah, I'll say that at the beginning. Yeah.
There's 3 things to say about this, EliteAri. Now, first of all, is that it kind of sucked, and the second of all is that. The point of it was that it kind of sucked because I think the idea being hit on is you reunite with an old friend and then you don't even really remember what you used to talk about, and it's kind of a little bit awkward, but you still have this feeling together, so you want them to stay for longer. But is that even a good idea? Yep. That's an interesting idea, but it's still kind of lame. But then I was like, the third thing was it lame because Mushoku Tensei is bad? My favorite talking point. Because these characters just don't have anything to talk about because they're so one note and one dimensional that, unless the plot's happening, they have nothing to say.
So what's your favorite conversation?
Cut out?
What's an anime you like? Give an example of an anime.
Berserk.
So which Berserk anime are we talking about?
No Berserk animes. Berserk animes don't exist.
All right, so what's an anime you like?
Lagoon, I could imagine a million conversations with any people because the whole appeal of that show was conversations. Leo just got owned.
So what's your favorite conversation? Hey, whoa, one at a time. What's your favorite conversation from from Black Lagoon season 1?
From Black Lagoon season 1, we got the submarine one. That's pretty good. We got the argument where they talk about Robin Hood. We love that one. We got Dutch and Balalaika flirting on the phone. I like that one. Dutch talking to that one dude that dies in episode 3 where they were shit talking back and forth. This is a terrible idea for you, EliteAri. You look just so bad right now.
Okay, so the submarine conversation in Black Lagoon. Do you remember that conversation? We talked about this in our Black Lagoon discussion, right?
Oh my god, he's just chilling. That's on my channel, EliteAri. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, everyone should go check that out. Watch Black Lagoon and then check out our discussion.
Part 2 coming soon.
Yeah. So what is it that appeals to you about that conversation?
I don't think it's about conversations. Now I'm going back to Mushoku Tensei here. What appeals to me about that conversation is...
It's the history of the characters, right? Surely.
No, because they're still very early in that. It's kind of the subject matter. It's how it's delivered. Just because the dialogue is very good in that show.
I guess it's dubbed as well, right? Maybe you're not connecting.
I think that's another thing that's wrong with Mushoku Tensei a little bit, is that it's a thing where it's intentionally, not intentionally bad, but it's intentionally like mundane or something, because they're always going on about, and correct me if I'm wrong, EliteAri, I don't remember things very well. We've got little Rudius here, and he talks very I want to say posh EliteAri, but there's an actual word they use in the show for it. Formal. Oh my god, he's just so smart. He talks very formally, and so it always seems like a little like he just like literally said the bare minimum of what he had to say just now. He said, "Why, thank you, sir. I will walk this way now."
True.
Now, is it just because it's anime? Because anime is all bad and terrible? Is it because we're doing this thing where he's speaking formally because he feels like an outsider because he hasn't developed social skills? And oh my god, what a deep character moment. And that's why he talks like this. Incredible stuff. But even then, when I recognize and understand that that's what it's going for, and that's kind of a cool idea, I'm still like, but it would be fun if it was actually interesting.
I'm just so curious because you say you like that conversation in Black Lagoon, for example, where you have these two characters. One of them, if I remember correctly, the general context is that one of those characters is closed off and doesn't talk much about herself. And now she's kind of opening up in a situation where she's revealing that she actually does care about things, which has like an accurate like summary of.
No, I think it's the exact opposite. That's
okay. Oh, okay. Maybe I'm misremembering completely.
She's having a little hissy fit, is what that scene is to me. And she's
okay,
like,
you know what?
Don't tell me what tomorrow, you little pussy. Morality doesn't belong here. Go back to your old job. I'll kill you, bitch.
Okay. Anyway, I could go more into this. I don't want to because I'm sure anyone listening right now, you probably have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah, Black Lagoon's not very popular.
I guess my general point is I'm just trying to, because to me, when I listen to this Ruijerd-Rudy conversation, which is, I guess, like what you're saying, it's meant to be a stiff conversation because the whole thing here is that Ruijerd's leaving straight away, which we get to the end of this conversation. I like this conversation because I think that the characters have a very interesting history, where initially they weren't friends, they had this long journey, and we know that like Ruijerd was like very protective, but also at the same time had issues with Rudy. And at the end, they came to like respect each other or whatever. And now it's been a long time and they just haven't seen them for each other. And it's just like, so I just think it's just so interesting because they have this big history. That's what I like about this conversation. But it's interesting to see what you kind of like about conversations in anime. And I don't know, I just don't understand it, I guess.
The history thing does, because my recollection of their history is Ruijerd was a little mean at the beginning, and then they liked each other immediately, and then they continued on. I remember them having disagreements about ethics and stuff along the way. And I guess that also plays, like, Ruijerd is a very stoic young man. He's actually very old, EliteAri. He goes back to the Laplace War days. Oh, and just paying so much attention over here. So he is very stilted. I don't know if Ruijerd could have a very interesting conversation with anybody. He's just not that type of bloke/character. And then I immediately am like, there was a little girl they were traveling with. If Rudy and her had a conversation, that probably would be an interesting conversation when they catch up. Obviously, we're cucking ourselves until the end of the series to get this goddamn thing because the author knows how much we want to see it.
Interesting. Okay, well.
But I feel like because I feel like this was kind of my problem last episode with the Sylphie Rudy stuff, is that it just felt very like, I don't even want to say formal. It's like stilted has a negative connotation. I'm just saying it's a bit boring watching these little characters interact.
Yeah, because I feel like tell me if I'm misreading you, Kyle, here. That to me, like I've said a few times here, the reason it's interesting is because I'm invested in these two characters as characters. So to see them interact after a long time, I think it's really cool. And I'm like, oh my god, he's going to tell Ruijerd all the stuff that happened. And oh my god, it's so cool that Ruijerd is going to say like what he's been doing. And oh, it's going to be so cool. But it seems like you just don't have that investment in their histories or their
Well, they
characters.
barely even did that.
Yeah,
Well,
no, I
when
know
Rudy
that this is a
showed
bad
up,
example,
I
I
was like,
suppose.
oh, cool,
Yeah.
it's him. And I was
Yeah.
kind of swaying because they tried to make it a mystery and it was the most obvious thing in the world last episode.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. Okay.
I feel like Mushoku Tensei has a bunch of reunions, right? When we meet up with Ghislaine again. But I feel like all of them are kind of been boring. I know you sway out over the Paul one, but even then I was like, oh, whatever, who cares?
Yeah, which is crazy to me. I don't know. It's like it is probably the best conversation last season, but yeah, I just don't know.
I just don't like Paul. He's a little pussy. Yeah. I think there is something, and to expect this, now I'm shitting on anime EliteAri, but to expect this from anime is kind of a thingy. But I watched that movie recently, and this is why I like Mad Men so much, but a more recent example is I watched that movie Broadcast News, if you want to check it out on my media thread list, or whatever you call them, EliteAri, Twitter thread, checklist, something like that.
Yep.
So I watched that movie, and part of some things I thought were really cool about that movie is characters would just say things you didn't expect them to say. They would turn a phrase and then say it a little bit differently, and you're like, oh, that's interesting. A person saying something interesting. I guess obviously most anime never does that really. It is sort of just communicating not just the plot, but like, I don't know. It's not the most interesting dialogue generally. Even something like Black Lagoon, it's more the delivery that I like, not exactly what's being said. It's all
it would probably depend a lot on the genre, right? Like a lot of shonen is not going to focus on the dialogue, right? But if you go to something like I don't know what would be interesting. I don't know, Berserk, for instance, like that has, and even Vinland Saga. Like I would say these have interesting conversations in them that I remember.
Yeah, I don't think I'm talking about interesting conversations with that last point, but whatever. We'll move past that point because it's referencing a bunch of shit nobody in here is seeing. I had another realization about another thing I was thinking about with Mushoku Tensei today. I think it was a negative thing, though, so don't get too excited. Fuck, I'm never going to remember it, EliteAri. Or I will in 2 minutes when I scream over you. That's okay. We're not up to the Ruijerd spoiler yet. I'm going to let you get through a little bit more of the recap.
All right.
It wasn't terrible. It was a little bit disappointing, is all I'm saying.
You were expecting more? Oh, God. Okay. Okay, true.
Now that I think about it, I don't know what I could have been expecting, but I don't know.
Okay. So, next up. So, Ruijerd says that he spent a few years in the southern jungles and that he went to Eastport and he ran into Paul and he met Roxy. And, like, Roxy was scared.
Oh my God, EliteAri, you're going just so fast. Remember at the end of season 1, we saw him doing something in one little area. I assume that was the southern jungles or something. I think he just helped out 2 farmers, though. That didn't seem like much of a jungle.
Yeah, he was just on the road, I think. I don't remember a jungle.
Just heading to the jungles?
Yeah, maybe. He was in search of the superherds or whatever. But, yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's looking for those, huh? Those are his people.
Indeed. And he hasn't seen them for a long time.
I thought they were all dead or something.
I guess we'll find out. Ruijerd and Ginger, they
Who's
volunteered.
Ginger?
Oh, yeah, I was wondering if you would remember. Do you know? Did you know now, or did you just not remember at all?
Nope, I don't know at all.
Okay, so remember the Aisha episodes from season 1? No, she's not.
Wait, what did you just say?
The Aisha episodes from season 1, like Aisha and Lilia, remember when they were with the raping prince or whatever, like those episodes. So that prince who was like taken over Sharon at the time, he like imprisoned a bunch of the families of the guards, and one of those guards was Ginger. So her like kids were like imprisoned, and in the end, she like sent Zainoba to go and save Rudy.
It was a girl one.
Yeah. So that's Ginger.
I have the vaguest memory of her. I couldn't tell you what she looks like though.
Yeah, that's fine. She was a very
brown
minor
hair.
character.
It was short.
It was brown hair. I think it was long, but maybe it wasn't long. Who knows? I'm sure we'll see her eventually.
Was kissing her and stuff.
Ruijerd, is that what you said?
Yeah.
No, come on. Ruijerd would never kiss anyone. Let's not get crazy.
Mushoku Tensei sucks.
Yeah. Okay. Ruijerd says that they got to Sharia, which is where they currently are, so quickly because of Aisha. She suggested that they join caravans as guards, and Ruijerd said that because of this, no one has worked him so hard in a very long time, which was really funny.
It's a little funny, we're characterizing here. Aisha likes to get things done. Norn's a little lazy little girl.
Mm-hmm. And also Ruijerd, who never complains about anything, is seeming to, complain a little bit here, which I think is funny. And in response to... I guess in response to this is where the formality comes in, where Rudy is like a bit too like immediately he's like, oh, I need to tell Aisha not to do that and blah blah blah, and Ruijerd's like, it's funny, just like laugh or whatever. So Rudy's being a bit too formal in this situation even, which was kind of interesting. And I thought about you, Kyle. I was like, oh my god, Kyle made that really great point last time where Rudy's being formal all the time. Okay.
Did I make that last time?
I think so, yeah. I was like, oh, you should make a video about it. That's a great idea.
No, I'm just so smart.
Yep. So then, in this conversation, Ruijerd brings up Eris, and the room is in silence. It's like a different atmosphere, you know? And Rudy, he basically explains that things got complicated, and she left him. And Ruijerd says that he's sure that she doesn't hate him, and that Rudy doesn't really, like, you can't really know what she meant when she said that they weren't well matched. And he says that Eris was never really good with her words, and if he ever sees her, like when he's exploring around now, then he'll get her side of the story and tell Rudius about it. So, yeah, a mention of Eris after a very long time. Yeah, go ahead.
There's I need a catching up on the plot here, and then I need a reminder of how I have come to certain pieces of knowledge. Nothing spoiler related, Alira. Don't freak out.
All right.
So we've got Ruijerd left them before they had pedo sex in the tent, right?
Ruijerd left as soon as they arrived in Fitoa.
Gona Kingdom.
The Azura Kingdom, yes.
What's Goa Kingdom? Where's that?
I have no idea. Maybe it's in this, and I just don't remember. But yeah,
Goa Kingdom. It's in something EliteAri. The chat will tell us.
Yep.
Now that's all I can think about. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two is that Eris left, and not EliteAri. Rudius was soy about it, and it was so stupid. Like, just get over it, Lamau. But then EliteAri, I think in the anime there was a monologue where she's like, "I love Rudy so much, that's why I left him," right? And then she cut off her hair. Bad move. Yep. What are we Videlin out here? Disgusting. Mikasa. Oh my goodness. So the audience can't be mad at her. So there's like a disconnect between Rudy's knowledge and our knowledge, which makes us less invested in, his struggle and stuff. He's being a little pussy bitch. Get over it. Catch up to us. But also, there was like a light novel chapter or something that happens
Someone
at that
pasted
point,
in our comment section.
Yeah. Okay, because I wasn't sure if that, like, the me thinking that Eris like said that she still liked him and didn't leave him because she thought he was a dweeb little pussy, was it just in the light novel and I shouldn't have known that?
No, it's in I mean, it's in the anime, and it's also incredibly clear in the light novel. Yeah, as like a reader. But yeah, but was that your clarification? Is that all you wanted to know?
Well, I guess our investment here is supposed to be Rudy's gonna find out that she still loves him, which could lead to like a cool choice, but
I guess we'll see where that goes. All right,
we're not talking about spoilers here, EliteAri.
So Ruijerd decides to leave the very next day, to which Rudy is saddened, but then Ruijerd says not to look like that because he'll be back. So yeah. Now, I don't know, Kyle, you kind of brought this up like a few minutes ago, but I think you just glazed over it, which is that, or maybe I glazed over it. The last time they saw each other, which is when, they arrived in Fitoa. As soon as they arrived, immediately Ruijerd is like, oh, I've delivered you, I'm going to leave now. So it's a very similar situation here, where it's like, as soon as he's done his mission, he's going to head out to the next thing,
Even though he has unlimited time, he's always in a rush. What a loser.
Yeah, indeed.
Now, what did you say before that, EliteAri? There was one point about a recap, and there was something I wanted to say, but I wasn't sure if you're going to expand on it, but then you moved on to the next thing.
I have no idea what you're talking about. Is it about Ruijerd?
Well, yes, it was about Ruijerd.
Like literally a second ago when I said that they met in Fitoa or whatever? They like the last time they saw each other?
Nope, it was right before that.
I have no idea, Kyle.
What did he do? What did he do in the episode? Reread your little recap.
Ruijerd decides to leave the very next day, to which Rudy is saddened, but Ruijerd says not to look like that because he'll be back.
Oh, yes. He'll be back later. In a real series, I'd be like, oh my god, Death Flag, he's going to die. They're never going to see each other again. But I didn't get that vibe, EliteAri. But that leads me, EliteAri, to the spoiler I got in the comment section. So everybody's got to leave. EliteAri's going to do a little sweet
look at the timestamps right now.
Protect you all. Jarkey Bacon might get spoiled. He isn't watching these, EliteAri. Don't flatter yourself. He probably is, huh? What a loser. In a comment, it was like when I guess this is when, and then Badigadi or whatever shows up. And the comment said, little spoiler, ... but they're not going to see either one of those characters until like season 6 or something. And I was like, But that means they are going to see him again, and that wasn't a death flag. So
interesting. All right, well, I can't say anything about that. I wonder if that's a correct.
Actually, I'm spreading misinformation, EliteAri, and I feel very guilty, so I have to clarify. He said season 4 or 5. And I was just saying season 6 to be hyper dramatic.
All right, well done.
What do you think about that spoiler, EliteAri? Are you gonna reprimand me?
I just can't say anything. I can't even tell you if it's accurate or not. Because if I say it's like,
but what about my action in uncovering it?
I mean, Kyle, you are who you are, all right? Anyone listening right now, they know who you are, all right? So I think there's nothing that could be done, all right? It's the pattern of your own nature or whatever. Okay, end of spoilers, I guess. Now, I thought I may as well mention, because whenever you look up the Reddit discussions or whatever for this episode, now spoiler spaces or whatever, some people were like, oh, they kind of like butchered this beginning Ruijerd-Rudy conversation. I completely disagree. I think they entirely captured the entire tone of this, which is all you really want in an adaptation like this. Now, I have a few minor light novel things that I thought I'd bring up to you, Kyle. So one thing is that there's a lot more catching up. Like Rudy basically, when they're talking in the room, like sitting across from each other, Rudy basically explains his entire, like what happened basically from the last time they saw each other all the way until like now. He talks about Sarah, he talks about Eris, like he talks about everything basically. But it's, I guess, one thing that's important to say, which is that the reason
I love Sarah.
Yeah, the reason I think this adaptation does it well, and it's not important that this is there, is because in the light novel, this is portrayed as kind of a montage. It's not like Rudy explains all this to the audience or anything. He's like, oh, when he's talking internally, he's like, oh, and I told him about this and this and this and this, etc. So I think it's okay that they cut it. You know, we got the gist of it. Another thing,
like that's like in the Boo saga when they cut away and don't show everybody's reaction to Majin Buu, and then that's not cool. And I always thought that was lame, and I wanted to see everybody's reaction. So even the light novel's not good enough. You should have said everything, and Ruijerd should have had like eyebrow twitches at certain parts.
Well, that is exactly. Well, okay. In fairness, I'm doing the light novel a bit of a disservice here. How they describe it is that Rudy explains and he goes on this giant monologue about everything that's happened. Like this is after he has already told him about how Eris left, and Ruijerd is like, oh, what happened? And he just explained this whole monologue about what happened. And then at the end of that, Rudy's like, oh, Ruijerd's face was basically entirely blank throughout the whole thing. And at the end, he says one thing and he's like, oh, I guess like this just happens, or things like this just happen. He says like a very short thing like that. And it's like to summarize that entire monologue he went on, Ruijerd's takeaway was that, oh, I guess this is just like a common thing that happens or whatever. So that was, the light novel is, I like that aspect of it. That was really good. And you don't get any of that really in this, but that's fine.
EliteAri, it brings me to the other thing I said I forgot earlier, and that I decided that the light novel is probably good, and it's just the anime that's bad with this dialogue stuff.
Oh yeah, I mean, I completely agree. Because it's just a completely different experience, because this scene with Ruijerd is entirely in Rudius's head. This is told from Rudy's perspective, everything about it. So it's like you don't really understand what Ruijerd is thinking throughout this whole scene, and Rudy is inferring things based on how Ruijerd reacts, which I guess we're getting to now, which is that Rudy
I bet
feels
there's a lot
like
more nuance and stuff, and it would be cool and not.
Yeah, there definitely is. And I think even people who read the light novel, they don't appreciate the level of nuance that happens with this stuff, especially with characters later on that, who knows, maybe.
You are satisfied with this terrible adaptation that bastardizes the story and
Very
removes
true.
all the good stuff.
Very true.
Skips over the little details that make things great, just like Chainsaw Man. And which other adaptations don't I like EliteAri? Vinland Saga.
True.
And
Berserk.
Other things. Yeah, well, that's
and like
a given.
Everything else you've seen that got adapted. True.
And One Piece. You ever seen that shit anime?
Yep. All right, so one of the examples of like the ambiguity, I think, which people are probably going to disagree with me, but like, it's not ambiguous, all right? It's not ambiguous. It's very clear. Is that at the end of this scene...
Oh my god, EliteAri's getting flamed this time, not me. It's crazy.
No, at the end of this scene, and throughout the scene, I guess a few times, Rudy kind of reads Ruijerd's kind of brief like responses and blank expressions and stuff. He reads that as Ruijerd thinking he's in a very awkward situation because like Eris isn't here. And it's like he was kind of expecting Eris to be here.
That's awesome.
Because initially you actually get the detail that when they were looking around,
because he's friends with Eris, not this little dweeb. Oh my god, it's so great.
Well, what you find out is that when Ruijerd arrived here, like with Norn and Aisha, they couldn't find Rudy at the school because they assumed, he'd be living there. So they went to the Adventurers Guild, and at the Adventurers Guild, they found out that Rudy got married. And Rudy's like, oh, he probably thought I got married to Eris. And this is all told from like Rudy's perspective, like theorizing what like Ruijerd would have been thinking at the time. And Ruijerd like says how he has like one line about how when Rudy's like, oh, you're just gonna leave that quickly, and he's like, yeah, it's like I don't exactly know what he said, but he implied that he is a bit uncomfortable here or something. And Rudy reads into it that, oh, he must just be thinking that he wanted to see me and Eris, and now he's like a bit uncomfortable because Sylphie's here and not Eris, and like, yeah, there's a lot of stuff like that
just
going
like
on.
Just like the audience, for real. No,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit ambiguous, which is interesting. Some people think that it's very clearly about Eris, but that's fine. And this is exemplified in a scene where Sylphie basically, she's in the shower this whole time where him and Ruijerd are having the conversation. Then Sylphie comes out and talks to Ruijerd, and Ruijerd says like one line to her and then walks away. And then Sylphie's like, "Oh, did I do something to upset him?" And Rudy's like, "Oh no, that's just how he is," because it's like it's very short to talk or whatever. But the whole implication here is that Ruijerd's a bit upset that or a bit disappointed, I guess, that Eris isn't here. So. Anyway,
that's cool.
Yeah, a bunch of details like that. There's not here. I don't think these are vital things. I mean, they are obviously vital to in-depth character analysis, but I think the anime does good enough of a job. Yeah. Okay. Wait. I know I'm talking a lot about this.
Sylphie doesn't know a single thing about this redhead princess, does she? She's never even heard her name before.
Well, she knows. I'm pretty sure she knows everything that happened with Rudy and her. It's all out in the open between them. But yeah. One thing which this is another thing that I think they left out, and they did leave out of the anime, which is that before Rudius finds out that Ruijerd is leaving, he's like, "Oh, I wonder how long he's going to stay." He'll probably say he's going to be for a week or something, which is short, but that's fine. He talks about how, "Oh my god, I can't wait to show Ruijerd to all my friends, and Zainoba's going to love him, and Linia and Pursena, they're going to think it's really funny." And I'm like, "Oh, it's going to be so good to get all these reactions of all these people, this is a super, and it's someone who is lived for so long and he's so strong, and what are they going to think of him?" And yeah, we don't get any of that in the anime, but that was kind of a fun monologue in the light novel. But yeah, anyway, there's a lot of details.
Adds to the disappointment in him leaving early. My goodness, this author's a genius.
True, we love him. All right, let's continue.
What's his name again, EliteAri?
Oh boy, Ruijerd or something.
He doesn't even know.
I've just never said it out loud.
I didn't hear it.
I think it's pronounced Ruijerd. Ruijerd. No,
that's
Ruijerd.
Right. Some weird web name because he's a fake.
Wait, is that his fake name? I think it's a real name. Wait, let me look it up.
He can't have one name, EliteAri.
No, it's his last name, I think. Ruijerd na Maganote, but maybe that is a stage name.
That ain't no Japanese name.
Oh my god, Kyle, it is. It is. Oh my god, it's the pen name of a Japanese web novelist who is best known for the novel series Mushoku Tensei. Crazy.
Well, I had no idea. Does it have his real name on that Wikipedia page you were just reading from?
Nope, doesn't. Crazy.
Yikers. He's just a mystery, like the Death Note guy, right?
Yep.
There's no way that's true, right? It's just something the internet said for a few years, and now we all just still believe it.
It could be true. I don't know. It's not that crazy that someone could publish something and not know who they are. All right. So, I mean, Kyle, did you know that the person who invented Bitcoin, no one knows who they are? Isn't that crazy? Oh my god.
That was Elon Musk, obviously.
All right, true. All right, now let's continue the recap. So as Ruijerd is silently leaving while Rudy is asleep, he runs into Badigadi, the immortal demon king. So the two of them, they stare down at each other, which is our picture right now in the background. And Rudius comes outside and he calms down the situation. So Badigadi says, "So that's how things are," and then he walks away. And then Rudy theorizes that the two of them must have grudges or something from the La Paz War because they both been alive back then. And then when Rudy tells Ruijerd that Badigadi came all this way to see him, Ruijerd's like, "Yeah, that does sound like him." So yeah, what do you think of this interaction, Kyle? This is kind of came out of nowhere.
All the way to see Ruijerd or to see Rudy?
No. The implication is that Rudius in this situation is saying that he came all the way to Sharia, this town, all the way from the demon continent, because he heard about me, which is obviously why he came here initially, when he fought Rudius at the school, remember? He's telling Rudy, he's feeling
was he looking for Rudy when they fought? I thought it was just a happenstance.
I'm pretty sure he came here for Rudy, yeah.
Now, why would he do that?
Oh, Jesus. Oh, God, I don't know if I want to... Is there anything...
Walking the tightrope, He's trying to figure out what's a spoiler and what's in the show. Oh my god, this is going to be so funny.
Now, I don't remember if it's in the light novel or the anime, but I remember
you told me a bunch of light novel things.
Yeah, I remember that scene we got with at the end of season 1 where it was Kishirika, the pink-haired immortal demon king lady.
Mm-hmm, that's who he's married to, EliteAri.
Yeah, so remember the scene with Roxy. I'm fairly sure that in that scene, I think Badigadi is also there in the light novel.
With Roxy?
I don't remember if Roxy's there, but he's definitely there at some point in that place with Kishirika.
Roxy's not a boy, EliteAri.
And I think Roxy was also there. But I think from there, he comes here.
I have no idea what you're talking about, EliteAri. You have to say that again.
Oh, jeez.
The scene where Rudy meets Kishirika for the first time?
I could completely be getting this wrong. And if I am, leave a comment, please. But this is just gone off my vague memory. There was a scene at the end of last season where Kishirika ran into Roxy, and Kishirika was all tied up or whatever. And I'm pretty sure... Do you remember that scene, firstly?
I remember Roxy, hiding behind things and not meeting Rudius in that town.
No. This is right at the end. It's like the final scene
I
where they're
feel
like
like I
drinking and having like
remember
a party.
somebody else meeting Kishirika.
Yeah, well, that was Roxy.
So maybe.
If I'm remembering correctly, in that scene, the light novel, I'm pretty sure Badigadi is also there, but it could just be a complete other scene that I've just like forgotten. But yeah, anyway, it is what it is.
Now, what's that got to do? What did I even ask?
Like, why is Badigadi here?
Yeah, why would he want to meet Rudius? Did Roxy say something in that scene or something?
Oh Jesus, I'm so scared that I'm gonna I don't remember. And I don't want to comment. I guess I'm pretty sure that he said because he's here because oh no, I actually don't remember. And maybe I do, but I don't want to say it because I don't know if I know it or not. Someone, this is your chance. You can have your shining moment where you can fill me in and tell me why is Badigadi here. And if it is light novel spoilers, I guess you can put in light novel spoilers. But
so
anyway.
in the anime, he was just beating up everybody one day, and then Rudy just kind of showed up, and they didn't even fight much, and then he won. And then EliteAri came onto his little soapbox here and said, "Oh my god, this was the greatest scene ever." And in this anime, it was treated like absolutely nothing. Like the whole armies from 17 different nations were about to show up, and then he decided he was just going to go to school, and that was sick. You know, light novel good, anime shit. Now, I was thinking when I saw this, and I was thinking this basically every time we see Badigadi, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? We don't know shit about him. He was in like one scene, and then he has like group shots where he drinks Lamau, and now he's showing up here again, and it's like, oh, him and Ruijerd, they go way back, and they were fighting in the Demon War against Laplace. Now I don't remember the details. Laplace had Ruijerd and his gang doing bad things, and I guess maybe they were fighting against the demon guys, but was it Laplace a demon guy? I don't remember.
Well, the implication is that you have Ruijerd, which is fighting for Laplace, but is under like mind control basically. And on the other side, I think this is definitely said in the light novel, you have the more like moderate like demons who are fighting against Laplace or not directly supporting him, which would be like Badigadi's side. So it was implied that they're on opposite sides of the Laplace war potentially.
But then a human's like a third side or something?
Yeah, the humans were completely against the demons, but you could say that maybe the actions of like the Badigadi side were maybe helping out the humans as well. Like we don't know much at this point, but they're definitely probably not allies.
And the good guys were the 7 blokes of Perugius or whatever?
Well, the thing is, it's a bit ambiguous as to whether they are good guys, because I think they actually, I can't even talk about it. Yeah, generally the human history tells us that, yeah, those 7 heroes or whatever, they're all heroes, but they might not be like good guys. They just banded together to beat this like crazy demon guy, I guess. So yeah.
And Rudy did it through time travel or something, I'm sure. And then we've got they're staring off at EliteAri, and you're like, well, Ruijerd got beat up by that Orsted fellow, so he's a little pussy. But then there's this Badigadi idiot, and he's a demon king or something, but this fucking loser lost to Rudius. Lame. So he's not that strong either. So maybe they would have a good fight.
All right. Well, I'm glad you pieced all that together.
Orsted's a real man. Now, I wonder what he was doing during the Laplace War. Maybe he's not that old, huh?
Wait, who?
I don't know.
No, I can tell you. Who are you talking about?
Orsted, you fucking idiot. Are you paying attention?
Oh, yeah, we got no idea. We didn't know nothing about Orsted.
Yeah, see. Let me just answer for you from now on, okay?
All right, perfect. So, cool scene. 2 random characters we weren't expecting to meet. They had a nice interaction. It was a bit tense.
I thought it was also underwhelming a little bit.
Why? What were you underwhelmed by? What were you hoping for?
Who is this fella? He's not been in anything. Anime bad.
Yeah, actually, this is actually really interesting because, yeah, obviously, I actually know how obvious it is. In the light novel, he is much more of a character. Badigadi is in a lot of scenes. Yeah,
he's certainly been made to be a funny guy, and like he's supposed to be super strong, but Rudy just beat him one time, so it doesn't seem like he's that strong. But EliteAri told me he was really strong, and 1,000 armies want to invade it. Yeah. So that means he actually is very strong, and we should actually take him seriously.
All right, well,
but he's funny and he likes to drink.
Very true. So next up, Ruijerd. After this confrontation with Badigadi, he immediately tries to leave again straight away. But Rudy's like, he convinces him to come inside and stay for breakfast, which is great. Then I guess, okay, something I'm curious from your perspective as an anime only.
It was trash.
What did you think about something I noticed when I was watching this was that the sisters arrive, but we don't see them for quite a chunk of this episode because we're entirely focusing on Ruijerd. So it's like all this stuff, all the like wrap-up stuff with like Ruijerd saying he's leaving, so they're gonna have breakfast and all that. That all has to do with like Ruijerd's perspective, and the sisters are basically a backdrop at this point. Like we don't acknowledge them. Like, was that like a weird thing to you? Or were you just like, oh, I guess
Yeah,
we'll
it was
talk to them
definitely
later?
weird, but then I was like, anime just does this, or just I guess just bad stories do this. It's not that bad because I was like half reasoning it out, defending the show to myself. I was like, well, we're just going to do whatever they would have done if we had seen those scenes later. But then there's like a dissonance of why didn't this happen earlier? There is a moment like that, which I think you already said the light novel plugged, where like right as Ruijerd's leaving, he's like, "And what was your name again, lady?" And it's like, shouldn't we have introduced ourselves a little bit earlier? I guess you could just say Ruijerd just forgot, but that really wasn't the tone of the scene. It just felt like, well, it hasn't happened on screen yet, so it hasn't happened. Don't think about it, type thing. And that's sort of the same with like the twins not really doing anything. They're not twins, EliteAri. They're just the same man.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well,
so
I would say
okay, we're just going to do their reintroductions 2 days in and just pretend like it wouldn't have happened in the interim.
Yeah. So if you want like a, the steel man or whatever, like the strongest thing is that they've been traveling for a very long time and they're very tired. That's like the actual thing. Like as
They had
soon
to
as
go right to bed.
Yeah, that is how it's described in the light novel, where like Sylvie is giving them a bath or whatever, and as soon as the bath is done, they're like both asleep. And no, there's a very cute detail which I liked, which is that when they're having the conversation, Rudy and Ruijerd, when Sylvie's in the bath, Sylvie comes out, and Ruijerd is basically gives that one thing about it, like he basically says hi and that's it. And then they talk about, oh, where should we get him to sleep? Should we give him like the big room or whatever? And Ruijerd just doesn't say anything, and Rudy says like, oh, he'll be fine, he can sleep anywhere, because he knows how Ruijerd is. And so Ruijerd he like walks around and he goes inside the sister's room and like basically camps there to like protect them or whatever. That was really cute. Like he basically just sits in the room and sleeps there. So yeah, we like Ruijerd. That was very cute. All right. Anyway, so Ruijerd gives his final goodbye. So we have everyone gets a scene. Everything gets a little thing with him here. So Aisha thanks him for all that he's done for them, and Ruijerd tells her not to demand too much of Rudius. So that's their little cute interaction. What do you think about Aisha this episode? Because you're a big fan of Aisha, obviously.
I think we'll talk about it in a second.
Okay, so that's Aisha stuff. Then we have Norn, who tells Ruijerd that she wants to go with him, basically. Like, she doesn't want to stay here, I want to go with you. And then Ruijerd tells her to rely on Rudius from now on instead of him. And then we got some interesting bit of Norn's perspective here, which is that basically she exclaims that Rudy hit her dad, and the woman that he's with now isn't even the same person as the last time she saw him. So she's kind of, she's a bit upset here.
He's a whore, EliteAri.
Yeah, I guess that is her perspective, yeah. To which Ruijerd replies to this, and he says that these things happen, and it doesn't mean that Rudius is like a dishonest person or anything like that. So yeah. Then
I think framing Sylvie as a whore is hilarious, and it would make a lot of soy Mushoku Tensei fans mad, so I was laughing about that.
True.
But it was very telling, and I did read a Crunchyroll comment that pointed out the hypocrisy about how she obviously has only ever seen Paul with her mother, or with Aisha. So he's like, oh, Paul's not a whore, but this Rudius fella, he's no good. And it's like, oh, a little bit of dissonance. That's cute.
Yep. The final interaction here, which you commented on, which is that Ruijerd asks for Sylvie's name and tells her that she trusts her and Rudius to look after the kids. And then in response to this, I like Sylvie's reaction here. She like gives a very like firm, like cute, like acceptance, like a smile, and she's like, "Yeah, I'll do this. This is my duty. I'll do it," or etc. or whatever. Yeah.
EliteAri loves traditional gender roles. Disgusting.
Wait, what does that have to do with a gender role? I like that Sylvie had a very firm,
she's going to be maternal and look after them.
I don't. Okay. I don't even know if you're trolling at this point. That's obviously not what's happening in this situation. I think this is a character moment for Ruijerd to say that he trusts Sylvie in this situation. Like, Sylvie, please look after them. I don't think this has anything to do with being motherly or anything like that. Maybe it is, and that's just not my reading of it. But yeah.
Fine, she'll be an aunt.
All right, sure. All right. Anyway, do you want to say anything about Aisha, or am I going to keep going?
I guess their dynamic was also disappointing. Like, Aisha wasn't as funny, or I guess the funny part of Aisha was that she was like shitting on Rudius, but now she like loves Rudius, which could be funny if she was shitting on Norn. But the way she's shitting on Norn is clearly written in a way that we're supposed to feel bad for Norn and be like, Aisha's a little bitch. Fuck this girl.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was like, well, they're taking away the one thing I liked, but Norn is kind of interesting. So I guess Norn stocks have gone up, EliteAri sawing out, and Aisha stocks went down. They weren't too interesting together. They just kind of bickered, and it wasn't really that cute. Like, it would have been funny if they were doing some slap shit, like comedy stuff, and they were punching each other or something. But it's just like, I'm Mushoku Tensei. I will sit here and we will discuss this for 3 minutes in this scene. And actually, your score test didn't matter. That's your show, EliteAri. I'm making fun of it right now.
Mm-hmm. You know what I just realized? This is going to be a very niche reference that no one's going to understand besides us. You, in this situation, Kyle, are like that guy that Film Buff reacted to Game of Thrones with. And everyone hated him, and eventually he kicked him out because he's like, oh, I'll just do it on my own, you know? You're kind of like that. So you're on thin ice here, right, Kyle? You know, hating this show so much.
What did I say that was like that?
I think like everything. Like basically you have the very... it's interesting because you have a novel perspective to these things because they're obviously very removed from the Mushoku Tensei fandom. And even I'm quite removed from the fandom. I don't know that much besides like Reddit threads. But obviously the thing that people didn't like about that guy is that he was saying... he basically had strange takes about like very... I don't know, like very specific things. I
vaguely remember him having like, takes like that.
And it's like clearly he didn't appreciate what everyone else appreciated about it, I guess. And it's like, yeah, I feel like you're in a similar situation, which is really funny.
I guess I am kind of like that, yeah.
Anyway,
especially
it just came
with
to
this
me.
show.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm like that with a lot of things, or at least I was, and then I sort of mellowed out about that when I went through my, what do you call it? Not optimistic phase, my charitability phase.
Mm-hmm.
But that's been over for like a year now, leader.
Yeah.
If you'd got me in that period, I would have loved Mushoku Tensei.
The big difference is that you actually are self-aware. I don't think he was self-aware of the things he was saying. You actually know when you're saying things that are controversial. Anyway, so let's continue.
But what do people like about this scene that I'm failing to appreciate? That their sisterly love or something?
Which scene? The departure scene?
I don't know any of them.
I know we're getting to it. We'll talk about this scene. So we have the 3 siblings. They're all sitting down to chat after Ruijerd has left. So Aisha says that she's surprised that Rudy ended up marrying Sylphie. She's like, oh my god, I didn't see this coming, crazy. And she turns to Norn and she's like, I bet you didn't think this either, right, Norn? And Norn's like, I don't even remember who Sylphie is. So yeah.
I think I just figured out a whole tangent thing. So hold that thought. Or you can tell me to hold the thought, but I'm not going to. Did I already forget the thought, EliteAri? I might have.
Jesus Christ. All right.
Hold on. It was another like discovery thing. Oh, I hate... Oh no, this is why Rudius is bad, Lamau. Okay, Get ready for this, EliteAri.
Yep.
So Rudius is like a piece of shit pedo, right? Well, kind of. But he's going on this redemption story, so we like him. But then he gets into these situations, and he always puts his hand on his little chin, and he just thinks through the most generic good outcome for it. And it's annoying. Shouldn't he be like fucked up and have some sort of crazy sick thingy because he's like a fuck up and a not good person or something? But I feel like it's been this way since the beginning. He always just thinks through things like, right now I'm not thinking with my penis because that's just something we do for gags for a little bit.
No.
So we're going to let Norn go to do what she wants because that's the best thing for her. And we're going to let Aisha do what she wants because it's the best thing for her. But Aisha's a little upset about the favoritism thing. And her mother's a concubine, so she's going to cry. But I'm going to comfort her. Yeah. Why is Rudy such a boring piece of shit when he should be a piece of shit?
Oh, there's a lot to go. I don't even know if we can cover any of this. Let's think. Firstly, the first thing I would say is
counter examples if I thought about it.
No, I think it's a fundamental like.
But the only counter examples is him fucking little girls, but the show doesn't seem to want to reprimand him for that.
Yeah, so I think that a lot of people have a very big misunderstanding of what Mushoku Tensei is and the intention of it or whatever. But before that,
redemption story.
First, I think that's fundamentally incorrect. I don't think it's a redemption story at all. But I know everyone's going to disagree with that, even though
there's nothing to redeem.
That's not at all what I'm saying. Now, I think what the immediate counter here is that in the previous scene, he was talking to Sylphie about how, did he even say this in the anime? Surely he did. He was talking about how, we need to be like responsible, like we want to be adults here,
yeah,
et cetera, et cetera. So I think in this situation, he's trying to be very thoughtful and trying to actually think about what's best for these people who I need to look after. I think that's why he's being very thoughtful in this particular scene. Now, more broadly about Mushoku Tensei, I think the big... How do I even... I don't know if I'm even ready for this like discussion. So we have Rudy. I think can I even... Let me think. Give me a second to think.
I wrote down a note. I'm proud of myself. But EliteAri's got to speak beforehand. So this is where I vamp. What about that new Berserk property, guys?
No. I think the story of Mushoku Tensei is more about... oh, Jesus. I don't even know if I can say this because it's like a spoiler. Rudy is a character.
Say it.
Rudy is a character, okay, in this story. I think the broader message of Mushoku Tensei isn't about the redemption of a certain character who's like becoming a better person, which I think so far Rudius has gotten to become a better person. At this point, he feels very different from the person we met initially when he was reincarnated, right? He's changed a lot. he cares about other people. For instance, when he died, he didn't attend his parents' funeral or anything like that, right? Like that was one of the big strikes against his character. I think he's come a lot of distance in his life journey or whatever. But I think the story is telling a more meta thing about a person who is like that kind of. I don't know. I can't be any more specific than that, but I don't know if the story of Mushoku Tensei and the appeal of Mushoku Tensei, I don't think it really is a redemption story. I don't think that's the major appeal of it. Like I wouldn't boil down to the interest of Rudy's character to be about his redemption. I don't know. I think there's more to Rudius than that, I guess. I don't know.
Because the one note I wrote down is has he ever done anything bad that wasn't sexual? Now you're trying to say he didn't go to his parents' funeral. He was like a bad person. But the reason why he didn't go to his parents' funeral is because he was traumatized and he didn't want to go outside, right?
Yeah.
So even that, it's like, oh, he was just a little victim. Like he loved his parents too, but they just didn't understand that he did, and these other struggles and the hangups that he didn't have, or something like that.
Yeah. I guess the best way to phrase it. I don't know if this is also, I might just be missing the point of what you just said, but I think the best way to phrase it is that the story of Rudius and the story of Mushoku Tensei isn't entirely about redemption. I think that redemption is like maybe 50% of it, and like a lot of other aspects, like the one thing we just touched on, which is that Rudy had trauma, and it's also a story about overcoming trauma. I think that's also a big part of Rudius' story. Like there's other elements like that, which will become more and more as Rudius' life kind of, as he gets older or whatever. There's going to be various different elements to his character that I don't think redemption is a central thing at the moment. So yeah.
I think the point I'm trying to make is I don't think the story thinks that he needs redeeming at all.
Okay, I can understand that. Now I think the redemption stuff was more in season 1, and I think we had this debate when we talked about him having sex with Eris, right?
Because I think the show doesn't think any of the sexual stuff is bad. I think it thinks it's funny, and then I think with the Eris stuff, it just thinks that Rudy was like stuck as a 14-year-old or whatever, so it's fine. Which I mean, we can argue about that.
Yeah,
I think I did. I think I was on the negative, and you were on the affirmative of that one.
Yeah.
But obviously the internet is like, oh, we're like past this Minetta humor, so that's bad. Sexual harassment is bad, and then this obviously this pedo adjacent stuff is gonna have them freaking out. So they're like, oh, it's gonna be a redemption that way. I don't know how they ever argue that, because we have watched a bunch of YouTube videos about, and there's like a million of them about how Mushoku Tensei is about redemption, and I feel like we just laugh at them. So I guess I want to go back and see what they actually said, because I can't remember a single thing they ever bring up.
I don't know,
because I feel like another point was this hand to his chin figures out the right thing for everybody thing. It's sort of, he's been doing that from the start, like in episode 4 or whatever, when Paul cheats and gets these twins impregnated, pregnant twins. You know what I'm saying here. The like he even has a moment there where he's like, well, this is going to be best for the family. Even if he's kind of disconnected from it, he doesn't view it as like his family. He's like, oh, I didn't do this thing. And like, yeah, I don't know. Because has he ever done anything like morally bad about killing people or something? Like he got those adventurers killed that one time because he wanted to seem cool, but that's like accidental. It's not like intentional. Like to be sort of this interesting character that needs redemption or something, you got to do some Guts shit about killing a kid. He did that accidentally too. Guts is a big pussy. He don't need redemption either. He's no good. He's a bad character too. Who needs redemption, EliteAri? Name one redemption arc that's ever happened. Jaime Lannister pushed that kid out a window for his own benefit, and then he did good things afterwards. There we go. Jaime Lannister, the only redeemed character ever. Vegeta, he was going to kill people, and then he got a wife. Redemption, EliteAri. See, I got 2 examples.
So I think because you said besides sexual stuff, right? Because I think a lot of it is sexual stuff, because the whole event of Rudius being traumatized had to do with like sexual stuff, right? I think that's like the core thing about him, which is that he was hung up naked, making fun of his penis, right?
His weenus.
Sorry, his wiener, as Kyle loves to say.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's like a core element to it. And because of that, he had this strange relationship with sexuality, right? And yeah, I think all the bad things he did were probably, besides like abandoning his parents or whatever, that's more of a Japanese thing, I guess, less so than a Western thing.
I can't wait to abandon my parents.
I guess, and being a burden on his family as well, like kind of being very selfish. That was a big part of his like flaw back in the day as well. Like he's
got to make something of himself.
Yeah, like he would bang on the walls, right? He would bang on the walls to get food, and it was like he wasn't, even in the terrible situation, he was traumatized, whatever. He wasn't nice about it to his parents. He demanded things of them. He would expect things of them.
Yeah, he was a little mean.
Yeah, which is a negative thing, right? Something to be redeemed about. Like now he is more selfless. Now he cares about his family, right? His whole priority is his like sisters and his wife, and he's actually looking out for other people. He's definitely being redeemed in that regard. And these things where he's actually thinking about them and thinking about their well-being, I think it is an element of redemption that's coming through because he's being so careful about what he's saying and trying to think what's best for these little kids, you know. But also, yeah, the sexual stuff is obviously a thing. Like he was trying to groom Sylphie early on. That's like the go-to example of him doing something unambiguously bad, right? Yeah.
Does the story think it's bad, or did it think it was like a little joke?
Maybe I think the anime probably did, which is like my issue with the anime early on, which is that they made a lot of that stuff like really jokey, which I didn't like. I think it's very clear in the light novel that it's not a joke. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe you could. You could probably make a very good video essay saying that the anime completely portrays it as though it's unserious and it does a very poor job at this. And I think I would probably agree with it.
Because I feel like he says it and then he turns to the camera and has a big smile.
Yeah, and I think
right.
Yeah.
Like that.
No, he probably plays the funny music and does like an exaggerated animation. Yeah, I don't know. I can just say the light novel probably takes it more seriously. I don't know. We've had this discussion. Probably if we go back to that first episode, we probably even talked about this, and there's probably like a more thought out discussion we had about it. But it's been a while, right?
So this is my point. Anime bad, the light novel might be good.
Very true.
I think another thing that we keep dancing around is that I always get more interested in these sort of meta, what is the story doing conversations rather than the character stuff. And that's what those comments called me out for, EliteAri. They just said I didn't care about the characters and that I was just, being mean and just
you guys will hurt Kyle's feelings.
Completely correct.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, some of the characters are alright. I like Eris. She yells at things. I liked Aisha when she was yelling some things. I don't know, when Rudius reunites with Roxy, that'd be pretty cool. I feel like I was invested in Rudius reuniting with Sylphie. I'm just kind of a little bored with the after effects. What do you call that? The aftermath, EliteAri. Oh my god.
So you just want to see some more action? Is that what I'm hearing?
Oh my god, do we need action?
You want another dog fight in the forest? Oh, you want like a fight with Ruijerd in the forest?
Oh my god. EliteAri. Anybody could have died. It was so good. Yep. This dog could have died. That would have been a great moment. This little fella we will never see again called Geese, he could have died. Rudius wasn't going to die. They could obviously beat the bad guy, but they kind of was a bit scary, I feel like. So maybe he would win. That was crazy. Tension. Classic. Anyway, just like with Sarah and shit, they could have died. I think a bunch of them did or something. I don't know. But when I think about sort of the main cast, like Perona and Perima.
Linia and Pursena, yes.
Linia and Pursena, they're pretty cool, but they're always doing funny stuff, so I like them. Zanoba, I don't really like. He's just like the overwrought, strong guy. He's stupid. He's got glasses. Nerd.
Yep.
That Julie girl's a little cute. Badigadi, I don't really know nothing about. But none of these characters, I'm like, man, do I love these characters? But I don't know. Eris is pretty cool. Maybe I like Eris a lot. She's the only S tier character, right? And she's never coming back, so... But there is cool mysteries in Mushoku Tensei that I care about. But these characters... I don't know, I feel like I like Zenith. She was pretty cool. I want to go save Zenith. But to do that, Paul's got to be around, so that's a little lame. But Roxy will be there. That's pretty cool. And that dwarf dude, I thought he was pretty cool. EliteAri used to be cool, but now she's cucked. Cliff was cool when he was being mean, but now he's a little boring, a little soy when they're always like, I'm just such good friends with Rudius. You know, there's some things that aren't so good, you know?
Very true. It's a mixed bag. However, from my perspective, obviously, I love every character, right? But I'm reading in the light novel to all these details, so it's very interesting for an anime only to see their perspective on these characters. It's funny that you didn't mention Ariel at all, which is really funny because to me, she was I liked her a lot at this point. I didn't like her, but I thought she was a really interesting character at this point. We've hardly seen anything of her.
Probably like her.
That's the thing.
In this episode, I was just like, she's just doing the bit where she pretends to be responsible. This is lame. I think I am particularly down on this season, I guess. I feel like I was more in... Didn't I say I would give the last one an 8 or something crazy? I feel like I said that.
Last season or last episode?
No, last season.
Oh, yeah, I think you did, yeah.
So it's just this season. We got to be doing something. But if you had asked me, I would have been like, oh, yeah, I'm going to love slice of life stuff. I guess we got to wait until Paul sends a letter. They fucking killed us all. Come save us. That's probably what's going to happen, and then they'll have to go and save Zenith. So I guess we're waiting around for that. What was the next episode called, EliteAri? I'm making predictions already.
A brother's feelings, I think it was, or something like that.
No, somebody's going to hurt Rudy's feelings, and Aisha's going to have to... Well, obviously, first of all, we got to make Norn and Rudy love each other. So that's what we're doing for now.
All right.
And then we can go and save Zenith. Cool.
True. Okay, so
That'll be 12 episodes easy.
So back to the recap here. Rudy opens a box given to him by Paul, and inside there's a bunch of really valuable stuff, which is great.
That was a cool little detail, EliteAri, where it was a copy of a letter because he wasn't sure if you'd already gotten that one.
Yeah, there you go. Because there is a lot of you get a lot more details, obviously, in the light novel as you do for everything. They talk about how the mail system in this world is very unreliable, and it's very common for you to send like multiple versions of a letter because they actually are delivered by people who like walk around from one continent to the other. So yeah, it's a mess. Anyway, so you got. I thought you were breathing in to say something. Okay.
I was yawning.
Yeah, you got a copy of the letter that he already received, and he gets new instructions to make sure that Norn and Aisha go to school. So
yeah, bitches got to go to school out here, man.
That's what Paul says, but then Aisha says that she doesn't want to go to school. She wants to look after Rudius. And she shows the headband thing that she's been wearing since season 1, ever since Rudy gave it to her. And Rudy...
Thank God they showed a flashback, because I didn't remember this at all.
And then Rudy says that he will decide after she takes the entrance exam. So yeah. And then
but he doesn't give out the parameters exactly. What a smart little boy.
Yeah.
Now, EliteAri, remember when we talked about the ethics of generational servitude because Aisha wants to be a maid?
Yeah.
That's kind of a little fucked up.
Yeah, very
But she wants to do it.
Yeah.
And it seems like they're kind of cognizant of that. They're like, oh, should she be doing that? And she's like, but that's what she wants to do. But she only wants to do that because she was indoctrinated through internalized misogyny, but not internalized misogyny, internalized subordinacy.
Mm-hmm.
And it's fucked up.
She was groomed by her mother. It's very obvious, I think.
True.
Yeah.
Sexy.
No, not at all. So Rudy then turns to Norn and says that you should take the exam too. But she is a bit hesitant and she says that she might fail. So then Rudy tells her not to worry. The university will take anyone who can pay. Then that just gets Norn even more mad, and she's like, well, if I have to do that, then I don't want to go to school. Yeah, so that was a terrible move by Rudy, and it was very...
She's a little complaining sad girl.
Yep, absolutely. So then Aisha, when she hears this, she steps in and she yells at Norn, and she's like, don't speak to our brother that way, and it's all your fault because you're bad at school, and yeah, all that. And then Norn says she'll take the test, and then she walks away, and then Aisha tells her to come back, so the conversation isn't over, and then Norn tells her to shut up.
That was kind of funny and kind of cute.
Yep. And then Aisha sighs when Norn's gone, and she's like, ugh, I can't stand kids who won't listen.
That was cute too.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, God. Aisha, God. Anyway, what an unlikable character. Jeez. Anyway. Ruijerd...
this episode, it's, what do you call it? When the author betrayed the character here, she was so funny and cute before, and now she's just mean because of outside influence from the fans. And because they didn't like her.
And the family. We'll get to this, Kyle. We talk about this later, all right?
No, it has nothing to do with in-universe. It was a hack, fraud, poor writing decision.
Right, yeah. So then Rudius steps in, and he tells Aisha not to talk down to Norn, and he says that it might seem like she's not trying, but I'm sure she's trying the best she can. So, yeah, there we go. Then we have the best scene in this episode, of course, which is Rudy and Sylphie, and they're having a bedside chat about Norn and Aisha. And Rudy is responsible, talking about how he wants to be a responsible adult. And Sylphie says Sylphie is okay with Aisha helping around the house. She's sure she's going to be fine no matter what she does. But she's worried about Norn, because without Paul and Ruijerd, she's a bit anxious. So, yeah, I like this. I thought this was a very cute conversation. Where it's like you have the two adults that are in the room talking by themselves when the kids can't hear them. About,
repeating shit we already know, goddammit.
Yeah, so clearly Kyle can't empathize with this descriptively real thing.
Oh, I thought it was soy. They're just so responsible, and somebody needs to fuck something up.
Yeah, so the appeal of this scene has nothing to do with them being responsible. It's to do with the fact that you have two parents who are in their room talking about the kids that aren't there, talking about them, thinking about their future and stuff. I think that's very cute. I like that. So then we have the next scene, which is Norn and Aisha. They underwent the university entrance exam, and Aisha got a perfect score. While Norn...
Now, didn't we see this goddamn entrance exam? Don't you got to fight a Sylphie or something?
No, that was like a thing that they just wanted to indulge Rudius. Like, they wanted Rudius to indulge them. Like, they didn't have to do that.
No.
Yeah. So Norn and Aisha, they did the exam. Aisha got a perfect score, and Norn achieved slightly below average for her age. She didn't do terrible. She just did slightly below average.
She's a retarded.
Yeah, so Rudy lets Aisha work around the house. Norn says she wants to try...
Hold on, EliteAri, I want to make a rave prediction here. She's just dyslexic or something, and she's actually secretly a genius.
Interesting. Okay.
Remember, like, Asuka in Evangelion when she's just like, yeah, I'm the smartest bitch around. It's just these questions aren't in German, so, you know, it's a little difficult for me.
Mm-hmm.
And then she explains thermal expansion, and then Shinji gets a erection.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that at all. That sounds interesting.
They're at a pool.
So Rudy turns to Norn, and he sees that Norn is giving him a face. And Norn says she wants to try living in the dorms. And then Aisha says she can't because their dad said that she had to live with Rudy. But then Rudy thinks about how Norn must have worked up the courage to ask about living in the dorms and how she's fighting with Aisha and she doesn't like Rudius. So he's like, okay, I'll let you live in the dorms. So anyway. Now, Aisha gets upset in this situation, which is what we were referring to before, Kyle, because Norn gets her way, even though she didn't get a good score. And then Aisha talks about how, oh, Rudius, you probably think less of me because my mum is a concubine. And she says that she heard this from her mum and also from Norn's grandma. And Rudy says that he doesn't think of Lily as a concubine at all. And yeah, so
what do you think of this character? Who the fuck is Norn's grandma?
You don't remember her at all?
Do we know either?
No,
we
don't. We don't know Norn's grandma.
Okay.
Yeah. But she was mentioned, so who knows? Maybe one day we'll see her. Wouldn't that be interesting? I wonder how old she would be.
Do you think it's the old girl from that one EliteAri video that I remember?
Maybe not though. There's a lot of old people in Mushoku Tensei that we'll meet one day, I'm sure. Okay, so
like Laplace and Perugius and I don't know.
Okay.
Anyway, they killed that old dude, remember that? Sylphie was watching, bitch.
Yeah, I guess for anyone who is invested in my opinions on Norn, so obviously I can't say much, because we just met Norn here, and obviously all the good stuff that happens is later, but I think they've completely nailed Norn. They've got her on model every time they draw her. I think her expressions are like perfectly what I would want to see. They're like a good mix of... Actually, I don't want to say what the emotions are because I think it's meant to be a bit ambiguous, but I think they're very well
She is a little interesting. She has a little pout. She's pouting.
Mm-hmm.
She's and then you can't really tell if she was being clever or if she was just being obnoxious and asking to move out. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess there might be something here. And there's clearly something that's making her upset, and she's gonna go, oh, this is the trauma, and Rudy, if you cuddle me right now, I'll be your best friend forever, and they're gonna make up and be best friends, and oh my goodness.
Right. Yeah, Norn great in this episode. And I forgot to mention
Norn
this.
Grey Rat.
Grey Rat indeed, and I love her voice actor as well. I think it's a perfect voice actor. Because obviously last season we hardly got anything of her because she was like 5 years old or something. I think right now they're 8. I think 8 or 9, maybe 9, something like that. Anyway, then we get a montage of Aisha. I almost said Aisha doing work around the house and going shopping with Sylphie. And then Rudy sends Norn off to school, but he gives her a bunch of warnings. So study hard, treat your friends right, talk to me or Sylphie if you have trouble at school, brush your teeth, etc., etc. And I like the way this scene was done. All right, Kyle, how much were you paying attention to this scene?
Yes.
Yes, indeed. She was saying height. She was saying yes, basically after everything, except for the last time, because I don't know. Rudy was just like barraging her with questions, and eventually she's like, "Why am I responding to this?" And she didn't respond. I thought that was really cute. And then after that, after she doesn't respond the final time, he says, "I also want you to come here once every 10 days at least." So yeah.
Do you think she's doing that?
I guess we'll have to see. It has been a month, and Rudy didn't bring it up.
Been a month, EliteAri.
Yeah. Yeah. Crazy.
How far away is this house from the thing? I thought it was like a 20-minute walk.
Yeah, it is a substantial distance, I think.
20-minute walk is a very small distance, you idiot.
That's pretty far. It's probably longer than that, honestly, but yeah, it's a
20-minute walk is like to the shops and back. No, it's just
I wish. Jesus. That'd be a great walk.
When I was living in New Zealand, that's how long it took. And that was very close. So
yeah. Yeah, it is further than... it's usually not a walking distance, but obviously you can walk there because they go to school. That's my understanding. Now, people are going to comment explaining how they know what the distance is. And don't worry, I know exactly what you're thinking about right now about when they talk about something later on. You don't have to mention, all right? I know what you're thinking. Anyway.
Wait, Aisha doesn't go to school, though, so nobody has to walk to school. So what is EliteAri? Oh, yeah.
And Sylphie. And Norn every 10 days.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, all right. So... then there's a 1 month time skip. Crazy. From scene to scene, they just like, oh, a month just went by. And Rudy notices that Norn is walking down the hallway alone, and he doesn't think that she's made a single friend. Then we get all the Linia and Pursena stuff, which apparently Kyle loves these two characters, which is great. Linia and Pursena,
they meow and they have energy. Something the show needs a little bit of.
They say nani nano or something. I don't know what they say, something like that. Linia and Pursena give Rudy a bag to cheer him up, and Ariel summons Rudy and confronts him about what they've been doing, about Linia and Pursena. They've been collecting the underwear of girls while saying their boss is going to love it. Crazy. Then Rudy clears things up.
Disgusting.
It is indeed. Rudy clears things up, and Ariel is glad to hear that Rudy and Sylphie have been enjoying their wedding bliss. So, how inappropriate of Ariel. Can you believe it? How dare she say that?
Yeah, and then
all right.
Rudy thought she was kissing and telling, but then she said, "No, I haven't been."
Yeah, Ariel's a tricky, sly dog, isn't she? My God.
I wonder how weird it is to see your spouse in a group walk in and she's not there by herself and she's
standing
behind you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're supposed to talk to the person in front. Do you do a little wave? I've never been in that position.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I've been in that position with friends though, where it's like,
yeah, but who cares about
I don't know.
Friend?
I mean, it's somewhat similar, you know. All right, anyway, we've got 3 notes here, Kyle. You can get through this, right? So
with your friends, you can just flip them off, you know.
Yeah, but not if you're in a formal setting in front of the student council president, who's also a princess of the kingdom of Azura.
Wink at him.
Yeah, true. Okay, as they leave the school council,
you wink at your spouse to EliteAri. That would be hot.
I would never wink. I don't believe in winking. I think winking is a dog whistle, and I would never support any dog whistle. As they leave the school council room, they run into Norn, who looks a little bit worried, and then Ariel asks what's wrong, and Norn says she doesn't know how to get to her next class. And that was very cute, Kyla, right? Cute little.
And then Paul has to go and do it, and they didn't even say, "Hey, I'm your cousin."
Yeah, Luke has to do it, not Paul. True.
Oh yeah, you're stupid. And then Norn does a little run afterwards, and it would be funny if Norn was totally crushing on Big Luke over here, and he likes her instead of Rudy, and Rudy gets jealous, and that could be some cool drama. Mushoku Tensei is not cool, so that's not going to happen.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
That's another thing I was thinking. I was like, what if Norn just had a boyfriend? That would be funny.
That would be funny, wouldn't it?
And then Rudius has got to be the father. And what if this little 8-year-old boy is a total pervert and is trying to steal Sylvie's panties and shit? And Rudy has to discipline it, and that's how he comes to understand that his actions are wrong. God, just let me write this goddamn shit show, EliteAri.
Yep. Well, you'd have to write a light novel first, right? And then they'd have to adapt it.
No, we'll go off script, you know.
All right, 2 points left, Kyle. You can do it. So, Rudy tells off Linia and Pursena. Meanwhile, they notice that Norn is looking at them, and they yell at her to go away. And then Rudy tells them that it's his sister, and it's they change their tune. And then we get this 1 bit of animation when Norn is running away, but she's clearly just sitting in the same spot the whole time, and it's just her animation is up and down legs or whatever. That was pretty bad, but that's okay. It looks okay.
I like the look of that shot.
All right, fair. I didn't. Actually, I guess I liked some element of it. But it was a bit funny how she was just running on the same spot the whole time. Then we end the episode. So we flash to Norn's class, and Norn isn't there, and instead she's sitting on her bed with the sheets covering her head. So, yeah.
She was?
Oh my God, Kyle. Yeah, obviously. That's the last image in this episode. What did you think it was happening?
I do remember the shot. I don't remember if I knew it was Norn, and I don't remember if I knew it was oh, she's skipping class.
Well, the implication was that there was an open seat where no one was sitting there. That's why they focused on that one seat.
I remember a shot of Rudy in the class at the end.
No, they literally have a very close-up shot on this one desk which is open and no one's sitting there, and then it transitions to Norn. I think it's very clear.
Maybe I was bored and I wasn't paying attention. There is a shot at some point in the episode where it's just Rudy and one other person in the classroom, right?
Yeah, when he's I think it's when he talks to Linia in person and they come in and give him the bag, right? That's their homeroom class.
Yeah, maybe.
They don't have a teacher there. It's just Rudy's just there, I think.
Yeah, you said that a million times.
Yeah. Anyway.
So Norn's just so scared she just doesn't want to go to school, and the reason is not actually interesting. It's just because she misses her dad or something.
Right. And that's why she's my favorite character. Is that what you're thinking?
Oh, so there is a reason.
No, I'm just saying. Why do you think that she's my favorite character, Kyle?
Because you like bad characters in basically everything.
That's true. That is very true.
Is that Kyle can I even think of one example of that? We like Mikasa. That's cool. You probably like Owen. That's lame. You probably like Jean Kirstein and Armin Arlert. They're okay. Gay EliteAri. Something literally, not in a bad way.
I know what you disagree with. What about oh no, I would separate Jinx and Powder. I like Powder a lot.
Yeah, this bullshit.
Yeah, but you like Jinx, so it's kind of we're two sides of the same coin or whatever. Yeah.
No, anyway. Powder sucks. Jinx is sick.
All right, let me read through my. Actually, firstly, Is that all you want to say about Norn? Do you have any predictions? Like, obviously, this was like the cliffhanger, not cliffhanger. This was like the end of this episode.
For me right now, we're just going in, we're going to love Rudy direction, and we'll have that finished up by episode 6, and then at the end, everything will be going fine, and we get the letter. She's fucking dead, bro. Roxy, that is. You gotta come save us. Or no, Roxy's gonna send the letter. Paul's fucking dead, bro. And the girls cry. Oh, that's actually so good, because Paul's already done his shitty character arc. Nobody cares about that. And if he dies as a little martyr trying to save his wife, then everybody will like him even more. Oh my god, I'm so smart. Paul's dead. Roxy sends a letter. Come save me. My arm got ripped off by this ice dragon dude in the opening. That's crazy. Did you see him? Yep. And then they go, your mother's down there. She saw your daddy die. Trauma.
What a great prediction.
And the girls will both cry, and Rudy will say, I will go and save the day. Sophie, you watch after the kids. And maybe he takes Zanoba with him, because he can punch things.
He's a blessed
Maybe he
child,
takes all the crew in the Alana Lies wants to come and help too, so he takes the whole crew, and then people start fucking dying. EliteAri, these fucking cat girls are expendable. Cliff is gonna die, and Alana Lees is gonna be like, oh, he's fucking dead, and then she's gonna reveal her Super Saiyan form, and she's gonna punch somebody, but then it'll be revealed Cliff's not actually dead. The poor cat girls are dead though, because they're redundant. Zanoba, could he die? I don't know. I feel like there's some mysteries with him, and he's gonna go back and like rule his kingdom one day, so he's gonna stay alive. This Julie girl ain't gonna die. She's a little girl. Who else is there? Badigadi, he isn't coming.
Well, there's like Ariel and Luke, and
they wouldn't go.
All right. Ruijerd, we just saw this episode.
Hoshi, oh my god, she's gonna die. Yeah. Oh my god, that's how we get out of. Nobody ever has to go back to the real world because they fucking die, EliteAri, and so Rudy can be a little soy boy in his fake world. But no, we got to get Nana Hoshi and her dumb boyfriend coming back, and she's probably got to meet Orsted again. So Nana Hoshi's not going either.
Interesting.
Paul has nothing left to do, EliteAri. He's gonna fucking die. This is great.
All right, these are some great predictions, Kyle. All right, let me go through my notes. I can't make predictions.
So where's Ruijerd going? Is he going back to help, or is he just fucking off and we'll see him again in 25 years? Or like, what's going on there? Did he say?
I don't think he made it clear. Oh, actually, he did in the light novel, actually. But, it's just the light novel. That's different, Maybe he has a different reason in the anime.
Why wouldn't he go back to help? Why was he helping in the first place?
Because I don't think he even knew about what was going on. And also the fact
that's right. Maybe they were just like, oh, the children are going to go on this scary journey, and he was like, I will save the children. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's exactly.
That's why he's not going back.
Now, I think in the light novel, the reason Ruijerd left quickly was that he heard from like the Adventurers Guild or something that there was rumors of like a demon or something in a forest, something like that. So he like basically had to go and help out people. That's why he left. Classic Ruijerd, helping people. There was like another. I'm just remembering all these great line details, but there's the scene when Ruijerd like goes to guard the kids at night, like when he sleeps in their room or whatever, and Rudy's like the last person to sleep in the house. He thinks about how he goes and he like locks the doors and makes sure that like the house is like secure for night when everyone's asleep. And then he realizes that we have like the best security system in the world because like Ruijerd is here and he can like sense things with his eye and we're gonna be all right, That was kind of cool. Anyway, let me see if I actually have any notes on this. Very minor note, when Ruijerd and Badigadi are like confronting each other there, in my mind, they were like standing way further apart. Like I thought they were like on opposite sides of like one was at the door and one was at like the gate or something. But no, they were right next to each other, which was pretty funny. What else? Bunch of Norn stuff. Ruijerd. Have we covered everything? Are we like that efficient? Oh my god.
Yeah, we're pretty efficient and stuff. And we talked for like 20 minutes about this 3-minute worthy episode. We're pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's it. We're done. So,
wait, how much did we actually go for?
1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh my god!
I cut out all the silence, so it could be less when you're looking at this on YouTube, guys.
Oh yes, EliteAri's got to do his little editing thing. Making YouTube plastic, ruining the platform. Mr. Beastifying the video.
Yep. So, see you guys next time for what was it called, Kyle? What's the next episode?
My brother's feelings.
Very true. So. See you then.
Jarkey Bacon will totally be here next time. Probably not.
Actually, no. For reference, I think he'll be here in I think there's 2 more episodes that he's.
Didn't he say the 7th?
Yeah. So he'll be back.
Then he could be here for the one after the next one. What are you talking about?
Maybe, yeah. So look forward to that. I can't wait for Bacon to be here. So I can have some counterbalance.
The year's nearly halfway done, EliteAri.
Oh, true. It is. Yeah. And the Mushoku Tensei season is almost halfway done, but not really at all because we're like on episode 3. But anyway, okay, guys, sorry, I just ended the recording accidentally. This is the real ending. See you next time.
Next time.